Hey everyone, GW Xavier Mohr, More Memories. Welcome back to part 3 of our Legacy of Love Project Playbook, converted into a scrap journal heritage album size series. So in part 3, we're going to do Project 3 in the Legacy of Love Project Playbook. Again, the original playbook is written for 12 by 12 size, so we're going to be doing some different measurements to scale it down into the scrap journal size, which is the 3.75 or 6.75 or 6 3/4 by 10. And project 3, what we're going to be working on for this session is this particular layout with the circles, with the heritage floral print, the distressed stripes print, and the mats are in the print. I don't know if they tell us what that print is. It is the reverse side of the Harlequin print that we used in the previous layout. So we use the opposite side of that for the mats that are on the, for pictures that are placed on the outside of the main strip border in the circle, in the split circle. We've also going to be using our mat pack, as well as a laser cut border and a sticker border. So what we're going to need for this project, again, it's all laid out here. We will need our 12-inch trimmer. We're going to need our sticker pack, and you're going to want to pull out the border stickers sheet, because we're going to be using this border sticker. And I just noticed that it's really nice that we actually have 4 designs of border stickers in the Legacy of Love collection. Usually we just have 3, but I know these 2 are pretty smaller than normal, and then we have kind of 2 normal size ones. So it's nice that we got an extra row set of border stickers here. You're gonna get your laser cut borders pack, and we're going to fish out it's in a kind of a tan leathery brown, and it's this woven scallop type of border, and this is one that we're going to be cutting in half to fit on both sides. So pull that one out and set that aside. The mat pack, we are going to use the mat saying yesterday's stories, tomorrow's treasures. So fish that one out of your Legacy of Love mat pack and set that one aside. The papers that we're going to need, again, if you are going to go ahead and mat photos, the playbook suggests using the opposite side of the Harlequin, which is this gray grid, has a compass here. So again, might depend on how you want to use that. We have the distressed stripes print, which is the opposite side of the print we used in the last layout with the gemstone chain BMC. On the opposite side is that craft stripe. So we're going to use the opposite side now with the distressed gray stripe print. And then we're going to be using the vintage floral print here. You're also going to need a cutting mat, red custom cutting system blade, your jumbo circle custom cutting system template, and if you want, we have our jumbo circle cutting pattern. I've already sized it, but in case you want to use a different size, you can see what that will look like across the 2 pages of the scrap journal. So we can show that real quick right now. So it's a double page spread, so on 2 scrap journal pages here. I'm gonna lay down my circle print or cutting guide pattern, and I can see already the inner circle track is what we're going to use. I'm going to go with the red to get the largest cut circle. You could, of course, go with a smaller cut circle if you want, but I'm going to go with the red to give us that larger cut. The original, well, actually, I might need to go with the blue now that I rethink this. So I'm going to grab that real quick. I think it might just depend on a couple of things, because we're going to be cutting that circle in half, and then we're going to be moving it to the edge of the page a bit. And so, depend on our strip, we're going to be fixing or resizing that. So let me think real quick on my feet. Yeah, let's see. We'll save the circle cut for last, maybe. We have a little experiment for this video. So, all right, let's get some of this situated. I'm just gonna put my paper off to the side there. Sorry, getting my camera angle a little better. So I'm gonna start by cutting my distressed stripes first. That's, in this case, it's gonna help me determining the size I want, what size circle I want to use. So in our Project Playbook, right, originally it's telling us to cut a 6 by 12. So we're gonna take one whole sheet, cut it in half if we're working in 12 by 12. But for Scrap Journal, we need to downsize this a bit. So we need it to be smaller, both width and length. And of course, our length is always going to be 10 inches for this one. The width, though, we can pare that down to 3 3/8. And if you're not familiar with where 3 3/8 is, it is the, close that. So 3 3/8 actually is the midpoint between 1/4 and 1/2. So we're going to go to that middle notch. This is our 3/8 mark on our ruler. Okay, so I need 2 3 3/8 cuts first. And I'm sure, you know, if I wanted to, I could even push it to be 3 1/2 if I didn't want to deal with, you know, the odd measurement. I could push it another 1/8 of an inch or so, make it 3 1/2 if I wanted. I'm going to try it this way though. So I got one, I need another one. Okay. Bring up my arm. I'm going to need to trim these down to 10 inches. I've got a little scrap. I'm just going to set that aside. Okay. So let's check out our circle now. our pages back. Where is my... Okay. Let's check our playbook real quick. Just make sure we're doing our layout right. So these are going to be placed here at the edges of the page. Then we'll have the circle coming out. So it might depend a bit on how much white I want to have showing. Not that it's a great deal, but as well as how much of the print. So it's not that it's a huge amount difference, but it might also depend on how much paper you want to save. So any color cut would most likely work. We can see here, because we're not going to take it right to the edge. We're going to be offsetting it a little bit. And so we can even just see the in the middle, any size is really going to work using the middle track. So I think I'm going to still go ahead with my red. And of course, if I don't like it, then I can trim it down to blue. That might be another way for you to see what you'd like, because we can always make something smaller once we cut it. We can't make it bigger after we cut it. So, got my paper here. And okay. I'm just gonna get it centered. I'm just eyeballing it, really. Got my red blade. Pop that out into the middle track. And I'm going to just make my cut. Make sure it got through. Yep, all right. Okay. Now we're going to set this aside and save this, because we're actually going to use this in the next layout as well. We're going to use this scrap piece in the next layout. So don't do much. Don't do anything with it. Save it. Okay. Close up my blade. Safety first. Put my cutting stuff aside now. Grab my trimmer, and we're going to cut this in half. So this can also be a little tricky on, how do we, it's a circle. It's hard to tell where exactly is the middle here. So what we can do, one trick is to fold it over and give ourselves a little crease to mark that middle. so that we can then line that up on our trimmer. And if I'm not sure, I can use my guidelines on my trimmer as well. I seem to be right in that spot that I want to be. I can cut, and I've got my halved circle. Okay. I'll get my pages back here. So, and what we'll do, oops. So as I'm creating this album, for myself, I am thinking this 2-page layout would probably serve very well for me as title page and end page. So that's how I'm actually going to put mine together. So I've got my first page. I'm going to swap it out with this blank one. And so what's going to happen, and this other one is just a blank one because as I'm creating this, kind of thinking of it like a Fast to Fab album in a way. I'm kind of creating all of this, and then I'm going to go back and put things together, or put my photos in and everything. So I'll be able to create the 2-page spread as is, because even when I come to that end of the album, I'll be able to just rotate this around to be what I need it to be if I want it. Or I could, right, if I really wanted it to be that, I can just pop it on the other side. So I'm thinking the way that I typically would probably want it to be. I would probably want it to be matching. So I will have essentially this right side layout twice, but that's okay. Because the way I have this structured right now, I can do the 2-page layout, and I will just rotate my page when I'm ready to do the other side. So we're all good there. So right now, let's just dry fit some things. We can see we're going to tuck this in a little bit, right? And I can decide how much I want to tuck that in versus do I want it right to the edge? What do I want to do? So I'm thinking maybe something like this would probably be what I'll do. Yeah. Okay, so let's get to the hearing. And since I'm not entirely sure how far this tucks in, I'm not going to put too much at the edge. If I need to, I can just come in with some extra adhesive once I get it situated, if I really want it to be very, very flat on the page. So and then I can tuck this in. And I'm just kind of eyeballing this part, where to place it. That's looking fairly good. Now I'll line up the other side. Oops, that's Repo. I'm gonna line up my pages together just so that I can get that circle to be pretty even with the other side. Oops. Realign myself here. I mean, I could bring it over even more if I needed to. Let's get this tucked in. And again, I'm just kind of eyeballing this. You know, if eyeballing is difficult, you can always, you know, use rulers, make some pencil marks for yourself with placing. I think that's about as even as I'm gonna get it. So I'm gonna go ahead with that. All right. Thanks. Now I'm going to cut the border in half. So I'm going to get my trimmer again. Get my laser cut border. So this is not quite an inch wide. It's maybe 1 7/8. Not even. It's maybe 3/4 of an inch, just a little over. But I don't have to necessarily measure that in this because I've got enough of the pattern to see where I need to lay it to cut in the middle. So I'm just going to line my cut mark on my mat to that this middle part here. So it just gets a little tricky sometimes to not have it move on you. You could put some repo tape on the underside to have it stick, and then it would just rub right off as well, if that would help you with cutting it. I'm just going to now, and we might have to press a little bit more, because it is a laser cut border, so it's a little thicker. So, but if we don't get it cut, that's okay. We'll just use our scissors. There we go. Then I'm going to, I could have cut this at 10 inches first as a whole piece. That probably would have been a little easier, but it's okay. Come in here, make my cut at 10 inches, remove my extra. I'm just gonna flip it around so I can get that straight edge to the 10-inch mark. Cut, and I'm good. All right. Okay. And we can see that it's placed on that distressed stripe paper, because the sticker becomes the other edge border there. So what we'll do next is let's do that sticker, so that way we have that to help guide us when we're placing the laser cut border. So take one, and we're going to adhere it right to that edge. And of course it's going to come off at the top, so I'm just going to take my scissors and trim that off. I'm stuck. Okay. Put that aside there. I'm going to get my other sticker. Do the other side now. In the same way. And I'm butting it right up against that seam, if not just slightly placing the sticker over that seam. Just slightly. Because I still need space here for my photos that are shown in the layout. So then I'm going to trim this off. Okay. Gonna get my silicone mat and my repo tape so that I can do the laser cut borders. And just get some repo tape on here. That one's good. That one's good. All right. So then we're going to place this with the scallop part facing the into the strips towards the jeeping with the staple end. And we're going to bring it right up to that sticker, that border sticker. Okay, that one's good. And then this one. All right. So here we go. We pretty much have the whole layout set and completed. So coming back to our playbook, we can see we've got this mat that it suggests we use. And it would go here. Now, because we're working in a different size, right, it will overlap. I could have this overlap this like this if I wanted to. I can trim this down because this is a 4, I think these are 4.5 by 6.5 mats. Let me double check. Yes, they are 4.5 by 6.5. So if I wanted to, if I wanted to trim this down, I certainly could. I'm not going to be able to trim it down to fit right in to the striped area, such as it suggests here in the original, in the 8 by or in the 12 by 12 size. It's because I'm working with a different size. But I could trim along the borders. I could keep some of that polka dot. If I wanted to, I could lose the polka dot. I could fussy cut around the edge there and just have that the black part if I wanted. I could, if I wanted to really get this to fit in here, I'm gonna have to come in close to the wording on the edges here. And if I wanted to, I could come in with a decorative blade and on my trimmer and trim these in that decorative blade and put that in here. So a couple of options. Or I could decide I'm not going to use this mat whatsoever. It's up to you. For now, until I'm a little more organized with my heritage stuff and my photos and everything, I think I'm just going to leave the mat off for now. Just like I'm leaving off the other mats in the series for photos, just to give myself as much freedom and availability with photos and placements as I need. But again, our common photo sizes that will work: 3 by 3, 3 by 4, 3.5 by 3.5, 4 by 4s. Yes, 4 by 6 will work, but again, I might only have enough space for one of those on this page and on that side. So it depends on what the photos are I have and what I'd like to do with them, especially if I'm going to mat them at all. So here we got Project 3 in the Legacy of Love Project Playbook, scaled down to scrap journal size. So coming up in the next session, we're going to do Project 4. So here's a sneak peek at that one, where we're going to use that chain BM or gemstone chain BMC again, and we're going to be creating more of a border around. We're also going to use the scrap part that we cut out today from the circle with the vintage floral piece to create that part as well. So this will be another interesting challenge in the scrapbook size or scrap journal size, but we'll get through it and we're gonna have some fun doing it. So thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful. And as always, if you need any of these supplies, reach out to your favorite advisor. You can certainly reach out to me and we can help you out with that. If you'd like to shop with us, shop with your favorite advisor. If you'd like to shop with me on the Creative Memories website, make sure that when you're checking out, that you select the advisor that you want to shop with, and that's GW Xavier Mohr from Indiana. Or you can always use my website link, creativememories.com/cm/gm83, and be sure to follow me on Facebook as well at More Memories. Thanks for joining, and I'll catch you next time. Happy scrapping!